to JG's Fight Talk, sponsored by Rich's Boxing and Limitless Creations. And with me now, I'm honoured to say, Jason Quigley. How you doing, Jay?
All good, lad. All good. Can't complain, Joe. Thanks for having me on.
Honestly, I've got to start by giving a shout out to my mate Ender. I know he chats a lot on Twitter to you, and yeah, he'd love it if you just gave him a shout out to Ender.
Oh, definitely. Ender's top man. No bother to him, lad.
No, he was absolutely made up when you won. I didn't hear the end of it, and I still haven't. So, but no, it's all good, mate. And as we say, you've come off a huge win, career best at the weekend against Mosley Jr. And as I say, when you get the chance to look back at it, honestly, mate, it was an absolute war and a fight of kind of two sides. Would you say it's fair to say? He kind of came out swinging to try and get the job done, and you just took your time, picked your shots, and yeah, great performance.
Yeah, I think his game plan was to kind of jump on me early, and you know, everybody has kind of been expecting me to kind of fade later on in my fights, which kind of has been a thing that has happened in the past. But me and Andy have worked on a lot of things. We've corrected a lot of things, and that obviously doesn't happen now no more. And yeah, he got off to a good start, and you know he got off to a good start, but it just he couldn't keep it up. He couldn't adapt to the changes that I made, and you know, I was the smarter fighter in there, and you know, came up with the right tactics, came up with the right plan, and that's what made me come away the champ.
Yeah, no, definitely, mate. And as I say, you know, I was just watching the fight just before coming on again, and I sound like a super fan. It's ridiculous, but Chris Mannix had you down after the fifth, 48-47. He had it on his cards. And he said, "Oh yeah, Mosley. He's been shaking him. He's been." And I was thinking, "What fight's he watching? This is like, you know, this is so random." And then you get into the seventh, because the later the fight went on, you just picked it up big time, and you just found your, I don't know, you just found your momentum, didn't you? And you just worked your way through the last part of the fight, and some of the shots you were landing, just quality.
Yeah, I think I really started to find my flow, and I really started to enjoy the fight and do what I wanted to do, and you know, just really get into my own rhythm. And Shane couldn't really adapt to that. He started falling short. He started missing a lot, and I could see that kind of dented his confidence a little bit as well. And you know, he felt as if he needed to push the fight then, and he needed to, you know, make things happen for himself, and that's where he came unstuck. And you know, it was yeah, it was a good finish to the fight. It was good adjustments that I made throughout the fight, and yeah, it was a fun, entertaining fight for sure.
Yeah, no, definitely, mate. And as I say, it was the seventh round. I think your jab, you just established the jab, you know, your distance, such a stiff jab as well. There's nothing, you know, it was going through his guard because it was so stiff. And you were landed, I think you landed a big uppercut in the seventh. And he wobbled. But to be fair to Shane Mosley, tough lad, isn't he?
Yeah, like Shane, I knew going into that fight that he was a tough lad. He's never been stopped. He's never been knocked out, obviously. But he's never really seemed to have been even hurt in a fight. You know, he's got pretty good defense, and you know, takes a shot pretty well. But yeah, he was tough. Now he took some good shots, and I did feel as if I hurt him maybe in the seventh or eighth round. And I seen him hurt, but he wasn't ready to go. So like I couldn't really force my hand and try to get him out of there. But yeah, I definitely hurt him throughout the fight. But he's a durable opponent, and you know, he's a great fighter.
Would you say he's your toughest yet?
Well, obviously getting beat by Obviously, getting beat by Turiano, I can't really, I can't really fault that in terms of Turiano being a lot tougher opponent than Shane Mosley, but that's definitely my biggest victory to date and my biggest performance to date so far.
Yeah, no, definitely. And as I say, when you do watch it back, round 9 is the one where the two of you just exchanged. Like, it was one of those fights where you didn't want it to end. You kind of wanted to
Yeah.
see, back in the days of the 15 rounders. I know you probably didn't, but it was back in one of those days where you kind of thought, these are the fights you love, where equally as good as each other in the ninth, but it was just your jab, your footwork and your movement. Your movement seemed to really pick off, like take off from the 5th round. You became more alive and moving around, and he must have thought, bloody hell, like he must have based it on your other fights, like you were saying, based on the engine and, he's going to flag. There's going to be a time where he's going to slow down, and you picked up. And I think he must have just thought, oh, bugger this. Do you know what I mean? I'm not going to get him out because, you got a good chin as well. Tough guy to take out.
Yeah, like in all fairness, Shane couldn't have really predicted what happened in the fight, because all they could go off was my recent performances and my previous fights. So like you see a lot of fighters, you don't really see nothing that's out of the ordinary or nothing changes too much. But I think by the way everyone's saying it to me and by the way everyone's describing it, it really does seem like there has been a massive shift and a change in the way that I fight and in the style that I fight. So yeah, Shane couldn't really prepare for that because it was a first. Do you know what I mean? Like there's nothing to go off to be like, well, he does this late in a fight or he does that. So yeah, it was it probably worked at the perfect time because it baffled him and he didn't have time to adjust.
Yeah. Because when we spoke earlier, you were saying about a year out. You were saying, it was a real pants time having that year out. But do you think that year out has helped you sort of adjust and kind of reevaluate things as well?
Yeah, without a doubt. It has given me that extra year to work with Andy. It has given me that extra year to think on my career, to think of what has went right, what hasn't went right, how can I improve. It has helped. It has given me another year to mature as a person, mentally and physically as well. So no, look, everything really started to come to fruition over the last while, and it's starting to show now inside the ropes as well.
Yeah, no, definitely, mate, definitely. And as I say, just you can see the improvement, and now your eyes are fixed on a certain boo boo.
Very good, very good. Yeah, like it's look, that's the reason why I turned professional and why I started boxing is to become a world champion. And now I'm in that bracket now that people are talking about a world title fight and people are talking about the Andrade fight and people are talking about the fight happening in New York or Boston and people are asking for the fight and wanting the fight to happen. So I obviously have a version now of the WBO title, and it's a lot more realistic. It's a lot more real. It's definitely something that is very achievable to make that fight. And yeah, it'd be great if that fight could get made for sure.
Do you care where it is?
Obviously, I would love it to be in Boston or New York. Like that would be the dream. Would be to have it in Dublin. That would be ideal.
That'd be
Yeah,
amazing, wouldn't it?
but yeah, like obviously it would be amazing to have it in Boston or New York because he's obviously from the East Coast. He has a big following over on that side, and everyone knows the Irish on the East Coast would be unbelievable. So yeah, that would be a massive fight.
Yeah, as I say, it's an interesting one because a lot of people don't want to fight him. It's a really don't get me wrong, he's very elusive, isn't he? He's got a very strange style, very low, works behind the jab. He's a really awkward fighter. So how do you kind of see yourself? I know you're not going to give away too much, but how do you see yourself beating him?
Well, I see it being, like obviously people have seen a lot of different approaches to my style. I can box, I can fight, I can kind of go middle distance. I have a few different A, B, and C's to my game, and I think that would be the key to beating Bobo is being able to box him at his game, being able to mix it at middle distance, land some heavy shots, let him know that I'm there, and let him know that I mean business. And then obviously then I can go into the trenches and go at him, let a few shots go. I can really keep him thinking and mix things up, but do it in a smart way. And I think that's the way that I get in there, keep him thinking, keep him guessing, and that'd be one of the ways of getting the victory over him to become a world champion.
Yeah, and as I say, you were on the DAZN show the other day, so that kind of good to see everyone kind of working together to get a good, should be easy to make really. And now you're mates with Eddie again.
Yeah, like it's everything's all good. Like you know what I mean. Golden Boy and Eddie have worked together in the past, have made fights together. Golden Boy and Matchroom are both with DAZN. So like it's very easy, and it's a very doable fight to make.
So, but before you go, mate, we've got to talk to Black Eye, because the Black Eye was there before the fight. So, was it a fight with the missus? What was it?
I'm telling you, the only person I don't ever want to face in the ring is the missus, because that's a fight I'll never win. No, I'm only joking.
I know that feeling, mate.
It's look, this is what it's all about. I was preparing for the biggest fight of my career, and I was getting some good solid rounds in, putting in the hard work, putting in the hard hours. And look, this isn't ballet dancing that we're doing. This is a full contact sport, and you're going to get black eyes. I think it actually suited me. It looked pretty mean getting into the ring with a black eye already on you. So I thought it was good, and maybe I should try and get more black eyes going into fights for future ones.
I don't know if that's kind of the trend to go with. Turn up with massive like. But oh, blimey! But no, mate, it certainly worked this past weekend, and absolute class performance. As I say, when you watch it back, just the way you dictated the fight, your foot movement, everything, you were constantly being elusive and really difficult to hit at the same time. And to, as sometimes you've got to take a shot to land one, and some of your right hooks and stuff like that were brutal. So as I say, it's full steam ahead, mate. And as you say, you've got to defend your title now, haven't you?
Yeah. So what's the title that I have? I think you have 120 days to defend the belt, or you have to vacate it. So obviously I'll not be vacating nothing. I'll be getting ready to rock and roll, and so we'll be looking to be back in the ring within 120 days, and that's exciting news. It's great news because it's going to keep me busy. It's going to keep me active, and we're ready to rock and roll. Get back in the ring and get dancing around, up on the toes, floating like a butterfly, stinging like a bee.
As you do, mate. As you do. Honestly, Jay, thanks for your time. I know you're a busy guy, and there's a lot of people grabbing you for interviews and all sorts of stuff. But you've been quality before the fight, chatting to us, and really appreciate your time, mate.
No problem, Joel. Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it.
No problem. And you take care, and love to the family.
Likewise. Have a good one, buddy.
Thanks, mate. Take care. Jason Quigley. Well, as we say, what a top fighter, and WBO, NABO middleweight champion. Yeah, He's calling out Demetrius Andrade. Yeah, I'd love to see that fight. And he's just, what a performance at the weekend. You can't fault him at all. Went out there, got the job done. Foreign soil as well, and looked brilliant doing it. Completely changed up his game plan and just brilliant footwork. Worked behind the jab well and landed some absolute cracker of right hands. So looking forward to seeing what he does in the future. And yeah, let's get behind him and support him. Great guy. So if you've liked the interview, head over to JG's Fight Talk on YouTube, hit the subscribe button and check out the rest of the content. And thank you very much for tuning in. See you all soon.
Oh, you